What was even scarier was that the platform suffered a slight reactor leak due to the shock. Amy suggested they use iodine baths every week to protect against radiation. The unbearable smell tormented the few of them, and what broke their spirits even more was that the supply ship had been delayed for months, leaving them to eat rotting food every day. Plus the communication system was broken. All they could do was wait. Now, they were finally going to leave this damn place. The team members definitely didn't want to miss this opportunity, but just as the two were discussing a mutiny, the captain came over with Amy. Out of old ties, he agreed to leave on the ship, but only for Daniel and David. Amy had to stay with him until the others arrived. David felt a chill run through him. He and Amy had already been sleeping together. How could he bear to leave her behind? David went to find his girlfriend, hoping she would leave with him secretly, but Amy insisted on staying because the platform needed at least 2 people to operate.
Hey, don't you want to go home? You?
I don't love you, Sullivan. If that's what you want to hear. You're a human necessity.
David no longer lingered. He angrily stormed out of the room. Meanwhile, the captain was still studying the sailing route, but the supply ship's trajectory was very strange. It ended up stopping just a few miles from the platform. This gave him a bad feeling. The captain went to the observation room, but when he saw Amy working hard, he hesitated to speak, then turned around and left the room. Just then, the platform alarm went off. They found another unidentified ship on the radar. Because the fog on the sea blocked their vision, the team had no choice but to follow the captain's orders and change direction.
Fire! Miss. Reload.
Since the distance was even greater this time, David suddenly realized something was wrong. He rushed down to check the dock. Sure enough, the supply ship was no longer there. That's right, the ship they had just aimed at was the supply ship. It seemed the captain had intentionally created this crisis to prevent them from leaving. He planned to have them destroy the ship without seeing it. When Daniel learned the truth, he immediately wanted to strike, but unexpectedly, he turned and saw the captain draw his handgun, yet he didn't back down. Instead, he stood ready to face him head-on, but the captain quickly threw a heavy punch. He then raised his gun again and aimed at Daniel. Without saying a word, he fired. Everyone was shocked by this scene. David had no choice but to open fire. With a loud roar, a dazzling spark erupted on the sea surface. Seeing the hope of returning destroyed, the bald man couldn't control his emotions anymore. He rushed toward the captain. At the last second, Amy decisively stepped in, temporarily stopping the tragedy. The 3 locked him in the storage room. The next day, David brought him food. He didn't understand why the captain had done this, but the captain said it was all unavoidable, because he had discovered through the navigation records that the supply ship had been anchored nearby for 3 months, but for some unknown reason, it had deviated from its course. Now, there was only one possibility. Someone had moved the lighthouse. The captain suspected there was a traitor among them, but no matter how he explained, David wouldn't believe his lies. However, the next morning, Daniel came in with his head hanging low. David sensed something was wrong. He quickly went to check the storage room, but found that the captain was already gone. It seemed he had escaped through the window, but in such a remote island, where could he have gone? David went to the captain's room and rummaged through his things, and accidentally found the sailing route chart he had made earlier. Upon seeing the coordinates on the map, he realized the captain's story might have been true. To understand why the ship appeared there, he would need to go and investigate firsthand. Amy volunteered for the task, but unexpectedly, Daniel also wanted to make up for his past mistakes. They left David on the platform, and the 2 of them rowed off in a small boat. Meanwhile, David wasn't idle. He wanted to catch a fish for his teammates, but what he pulled up was the captain's arm. When he saw the bullet hole in his forehead, the little black guy was completely stunned. He knew the captain must have been silenced by someone, and recalling Daniel's nervous behavior earlier, he figured the traitor could only be him. Later, in the archives, David discovered Daniel had a history of severe mental problems, but he had been recruited for his exceptional repair skills. Reading this, David shuddered. If the bald guy was the killer, then his girlfriend was probably in great danger. David quickly went to the platform to observe, and sure enough, the small boat returning only had 1 person. A bad feeling washed over him.